All right, Jon Jones returns this weekend after a 3-year hiatus. But for all you newbies out there, for anyone that can't remember, for all you people that have forgot just how good was Jon Jones, well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, listen, he was the youngest champion in the world. But in fact, we're not going to start there. We're going to start with some good old-fashioned stats. Jon Jones has a record of 26-1 with 1 no contest. Realistically, he should be undefeated at 27-0. He turns 36 years old this summer. He is 6'4", and he has a massive 84.5-inch reach. And he is a former 2-time UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. Now, this weekend against Cyril Gane, when this fight was first announced, for the first time in the career of Jon Jones, he actually started as a betting underdog, plus 100. But now, because of some activity at the sportsbook, that has changed, and now he's a minus 160 favorite. Now, Jones is coming back for the first time after 3 years. In fact, it will be 1,151 days, or 3 years, 1 month and 27 days since Jon fought. That last fight was Dominic Reyes at UFC 247. Now, that amount of time is actually more time from Jon's MMA debut to what it was to when he became the champ in the UFC in 2011, just to give you a little bit of context on how long that was. Now, when it comes to stats and records, I mean, these are super impressive, off the chain. He's got the most UFC title fight wins in UFC history at 14. Let that sink in. He's beaten 9 UFC champions, which is the most in history. We're talking wins over Shogun Rua, Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Daniel Cormier, not once but twice, Vito Belfort and Glover Teixeira. As I say, all former champions. He has the record 11 UFC title defenses, tied with Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. He was 23 years and 242 days old when he beat Shogun Rua at UFC 128 in March 2011 in an absolute epic beatdown. And Jones, he was 23 when he was the champ, and now he turns 36 this summer. Now, he's had the longest unbeaten streak in UFC history, won 18 fights in a row, and Jones has headlined more UFC pay-per-views, 13, than Cyril Gane has had professional fights in his entire career. Let that one sink in. Jones has headlined more UFC pay-per-views than what Cyril Gane has had in his entire career in number of fights. I mean, that's an impressive stat, and that just shows you the difference in experience when it comes to these two men. Now, when we're talking inside the octagon, wrestling is going to be a big key this weekend, and he has got crazy impressive stats. He has 1 hour and 20 minutes of control time. Once he gets his person down to the ground or maybe up against the fence, 1 hour and 20 minutes of that. Second most of any UFC light heavyweight. And this was all while fighting the best people in the world, most of them former champions. Now, he's one of mixed martial arts great wrestlers, and that is despite having no NCAA pedigree, really. He has a 95% takedown defense. Only Kamaru Usman has a higher percentage, and Jones was only in bottom position on the floor for 0.02% of his UFC career. So it's negligible. He's pretty much never been on bottom. 0.02% is wild. He's completed also 42 takedowns, which is the 4th most in UFC light heavyweight history. And of course, as we know, Jones has made a habit of beating people at their own game and out-wrestling great wrestlers. He out-wrestled Daniel Cormier, an Olympian at UFC 182. He out-wrestled NCAA Division I All-Star Rashad Evans at UFC 145. Out-wrestled NCAA Division I star Ryan Bader in 2013. And he out-wrestled All-American Greco-Roman Chael P. Sonnen, the Wesleyan, Oregon bad guy. He out-wrestled him. He dominated him. Listen, Chael couldn't do a goddamn thing. And he was speaking to Ariel Helwani this week, and he said he was juiced to the gills in that fight. He said he was so juiced, he had more juice in him than Tropicana. And he also feels like Jon Jones actually was juiced to the gills.
I had more juice than Tropicana, and he pushed me around like a Mack truck versus.
Did they not test before that fight?
As soon as we locked up with each other, I thought, "Ooh, I know you." As he's pushing me backwards before he with his big spinning elbow, I remember thinking, "I know your secret," because I got the same one.
Now, when it comes to experience is such a valuable tool to have inside the octagon, okay? And it can't be bought, it has to be earned. And Jon has fought 73 rounds of hand-to-hand combat against the best people on the planet in the UFC. 73 rounds. And 61 of them we're in UFC title fights, whereas there's so much at stake, where the pressure is ridiculous, where literally the entire world is watching and potentially waiting for you to make a mistake. That is insane. And compared to Cyril Gane, Gane has only fought 31 rounds in mixed martial arts, period. And Gane has only fought 8 title rounds, including for the interim title. So when you look at all those stats and you look at some of the people that Jon Jones has beaten, and you look at the hunger that he's talking about this week, he's talking about the fear being back. He's talking about coming back and reminding the world what he is capable of. He feels he's been overlooked. He feels he's been forgotten about, and he is coming back Saturday night with a bang to show you who the man is. The problem is for him, he's fighting Cyril Gane, one of the most versatile, light-footed, fast, light on his feet, dangerous kickboxers that we've ever seen inside the UFC. Other than losing to Francis Ngannou, he's been absolutely perfect, knocking out Tai Tuivasa, Derek Lewis, and turning Francis Ngannou into a wrestler, because that is what he did. And look at that finish against Cyril Gane. It was so technically brilliant. I mean, listen, he had a lot of good success in that fight, but the end came. Tuivasa was rushing him. Gane pivoted to the side. Boom, right hand, sat him down. Beautiful finish. Finished him off with some lovely ground and pound. So it's a tough one. It is a tough one for Cyril Gane, but it's a tough one for Jon Jones. Now, this isn't my prediction. I'm going to give a full prediction of the main card. That'll be on a video very, very soon, so keep an eye out for that one. But this weekend, you can feel it. You can feel the excitement. I drive to Vegas tomorrow morning. I'm excited to be there. I'll be in the crowd. I'm doing some coverage for BT Sport, and it's a great fight card. We've got Valentina Shevchenko, of course, defending against Alexa Grasso. A lot of people are saying that Alexa Grasso doesn't really deserve this, that Talia Santos deserves it more. I disagree. Grasso's on a 4-fight win streak. Shevchenko has been through most of the division. She's doing what Adesanya did. She's kind of lapping the division, and she's running out of contenders. Of course, if she beats Alexa Grasso, a rematch with Taila Santos should happen. And then I believe a third and final fight with Amanda Nunes. And then underneath that, we've got Bo Nickel making his debut. I mean, come on. This guy's got a ton of hype around him. Before the co-main event, we've got Jeff Neal taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm telling you, that fight is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Keep an eye on that one. Mateusz Gamrot, a grappling phenom, going up against one of the best strikers that we've got in lightweight, Jalen the Tarantula Turner, 6'3". He's got long legs. Mateusz is going to grab them, but will he get guillotined? Will he get choked out? Will he get knocked out? That's a sick fight. And opening up the main card, as I said, Bo Nickel taking on Jamie Pickett. Cody Garbrandt, former champion in the prelims. We've got Derek Brunson, Dricus du Plessis, Ian Gary, Son Kanan, Julian Marquez, Marc-Andre Barriol. I mean, this fight card this weekend is one of the best that the UFC have put on, maybe of all time, certainly in recent memory, and you do not want to miss it. And I'll be giving weigh-in reactions, press conference reactions, instant reactions after the fights happen on Saturday night. So stay tuned for all of that stuff. Subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you soon.